I'm going. It is your choice, Wolf. This choice does not matter. At least I don't think it does. You have visited the wilds of oh, it's so loud of Kakavad through Kare and the spiteful Baklands, all the way into Mompang. It's so loud. You have survived traps, thieves, serpents, and vengeful gods, and now it is here, the Crown of Kings. It is said the crown was never forged, only found, by Kalana, the Reformer, a lowly foot soldier who became emperor of the Eastern world. Such is the power of the crown. The air around it crackles with influence. Take it or wait. The crown sits unguarded on a pedestal of light. After so many hardships, can it really be so simple? Or is this yet another deception? Sure enough, as soon as you think it, the image of the crown begins to flicker. You turn about to see something approaching. It's a trap! And startle yourself awake. You are alone, exhausted, in the little hut in the outpost settlement. Your unimaginable journey is not even a single step begun. Inkle presents. Steve Jackson's Sorcery. Part 1. The Shamutanti Hills. So, a frequent joke from my previous playthrough. So the way that, like, you move, right? Oh, we'll do that in a moment. It is sunrise. You dress, breakfast on bread and goat's milk, and collect the pack and sword from beside your bed. Test the blade. You pause to test the blade against your thumb. The blacksmith has done well. The edge is keen and draws a narrow line of blood. Outside the hut, you hear the outpost settlement stirring to life. Pray for luck. Taking a moment more, you close your eyes and raise a prayer to your spirit guide. This morning, it is the form of a panther. But what will it become once your journey truly begins? A great calm descends upon you. Time to go. Time, then, to depart. You lift back up the flap of the hut and step into the early morning sunshine. So, now I can do it. A frequent joke from the previous playthrough is that, so you can, like, draw the line. You get to, like, draw your path, right? But also the game lets you do stuff like this. And it really lets you go. I did a short one here, but I have several times filled the entire map with the path. And a recurring joke on the previous playthrough, when Nameless would have to, like, restream it, was I would try to trick him. I would try to make him guess the path that I took and stuff, and I would judge his assessment. Eyes follow you as you leave the hut and walk across the entire world to travel 3 tents down. The villagers are confused. And walk towards the great Shamutanti wall. The frontiers people of this tiny settlement are well aware of your mission. Greet them. You turn to them and bow. Some smile in reply, but are too afraid to approach. Others make gestures of protection. You are going beyond the wall, so they believe you to be cursed. A man is waiting on the path to the Gantopani gate, in the final doorway between Analand and the wild of Kakabad. You recognize the sergeant of the Sight Master Warriors. He holds out his hand. Greetings, Sergeant, or get out of my way. It's greetings, Sergeant. There's no reason to be a dick. Greetings, Sergeant. He touches his forehead with 2 fingers. You are almost ready, he says. I have for you a gift from the king. 24 gold pieces. It is all we can spare this time. He holds out a pouch. Take it. Take half. Refuse it. I think we should take half. I think last time I just straight up refused it. You take the bag, count out half the coins, and return the rest. The king will need them should I fail, you declare. You choose a harder path, but I respect you for it, the Sidemaster replies. You must collect your spell book if you wish magic to aid you, and should you wish to practice your swordplay, I will go one last round with you. He points with his staff towards the training ground. Collect my spellbook. One of the huts, set slightly back from the others, is decorated with glyphs and strange symbols. A terrible smell emanates from its doorway. This is the hut of the chief mage. He has been preparing your spellbook for days, reading star charts to work with which spells will be available to you in the different locations in the hills and beyond. Do without the spellbook, go inside. Okay, so apparently, according to Jerma, who is a large inspiration for why we're even revisiting this game at all, you can just skip the spellbook, which is kind of amazing, because the spellbook does, like, a lot, and I don't really know how you, like, reasonably beat the game without it. We will be going inside. You lift the flap and go inside. The mage looks up at you with haggard, sleepless eyes and presses the book into your hands. Do you understand how to use this? He asks. I do, but I will go through the tutorial. Tell me. Each spell is crafted through the alignment of 3 stars, he begins. The spell Zap, for example, is made by aligning Zarathustra, Ayugis, and Bini. But this is not important. What matters is that the spell was what the spell is called and what it does. Zap will give you control over lightning. Hot will create a fireball. Fulf will create a force field around you. Shall I continue? Tell me more. The mage nods. The law spell is formed from Lilith, Aegis, and Wex, and it will allow you to control the will of unintelligent creatures. The wall spell is quite different and uses different stars. The order matters, you see. Wall creates an invisible barrier. You'll find the rest in the book. He adds, tapping the letterbound volume. I want to know how much can you make this guy explain? I want to know more. Paige looks surprised. Well, the Dop spell is useful for locks. Walk will shield you in battle, and Dumb will cause clumsiness. He scratches absently at his ear. Remember, some spells will cost you effort to use, but the ones that don't will not work without a focus, an item of some kind. You will need to read the book to know that. To know what? Research magic using the spellbook button on the map. My ration. Small traders in the settlement supply the Sight Master warriors with weapons, armor, food, and clothing. You go over with the sergeant to a stall selling flat breads and cheese. 2 gold pieces per ration, the owner says. We'll buy 2 rations. You hand over your coins, and the man places 2 rations carefully into your pack. You must be sure you eat every day or you will suffer, the sergeant will tell you, standing at your side. Eating more will give you extra strength, but is not necessary. Check the contents of your pack using the item button on the map. You walk with the sergeant to the training ground, and he wraps the base of his staff in leather. To begin, the sergeant says, we will practice the stances. First, defend yourself against me. Choose your attack power by dragging your character sideways to defend to stay fully left. Okay, so here's how the combat kind of works. You have like an attack meter over here, and so does your opponent. And you can invest more, but it will cost you like more of your stamina. Your stamina is your health as well, right? So here, if you do 0 and defend, and they attack, it will always take 1 damage. So if they send their full bar, and you defend, you're only going to take 1 damage. The Sightmaster is a powerful enemy. By defending, you will receive the minimum damage from any attack he makes. The Sightmaster the Sergeant defends himself as well. The round is a stalemate. My next attack will be one of my strongest, he declares. If you can perform a full attack, you may overpower me. But otherwise, you had best defend yourself. For a strong attack, pull your character to the right. To defend, pull your character to the left. So I'm just going to defend because he said he's going to do a really strong attack. So he uses like his full bar here, right? And did 1 damage. 1 damage. You defend yourself, building up your power for next turn. The Sightmaster Sergeant attempts a strong attack, but you receive only a small amount of damage. He'll be weaker now, so his next attack will be lower. My next attack will be weak, he declares. You will be able to overpower me by playing a stronger attack, but be sure your attack is stronger. Make a strong attack by pulling your... So I'm just gonna do like a... I'm probably gonna do like a 3 here, just because I know that he's weak from his previous move. Right? He only did 0.7. You make a medium attack, overpowering the Sightmaster Sergeant, who tries a low, careful attack. Overpowering a weak attack is easy, so you did well to win without using too much power. See, I didn't use too much power, so I can still use a lot on this one. My next attack will be low, says the Sergeant. You can overpower him by dragging your character to the right. Okay. We'll just do another 3.3. See, but only the person who does more does anything, right? So if I do 3.1 and he does 3.2, I did nothing. He gets to do like his full attack to me. You perform a medium play, overpowering the Sightmaster Sergeant again. He bows. You have finished me. Excellent. 1 stamina lost. Skilled swordplay. You seem to remember the basics. The Sergeant says breathlessly, Good. Another round? Enough training. You shake your head. Very good, the Sergeant agrees. But if you wish a bout in earnest, then I warn you, I will not go easy on you. He indicates the wider yard where there is space for a true match. Sure, I don't think I actually did this. You head over to the yard to practice a bout of real fighting. The Sergeant removes the cloth padding from the base of his staff. Unsheathe thy sword. This time I will not tell you my intentions, he says. You will have to read them for yourself. Be ready. Let's defend. That was good. He did a big attack. The Sightmaster smiles at you, taps the ground with his long staff, and readies his stance. You drop into a defensive crouch immediately. The Sightmaster is not to be trifled with. The Sightmaster Sergeant comes in with his strongest, most forceful attack. Also, this will tell you, I think, their previous move. So I know he did like a pretty big move there. I'm gonna... Whoa! In the next moment, the Sightmaster Sergeant is charging for you. Your own stroke is overpowered as his blow lands with a punishing weight. You double over, almost vomiting. The impact of his hit is hard and sends you tumbling across the dirt. From the sidelines, the people of the settlement watch with a gathering despair. His eyes follow your shoulders. He is probably about to defend himself. You realize a strong hit would be wasteful now. Alright, well, if he's about to defend, then we'll just do a weak one. Time to attack. You sting him with your blade, low and fast, saving your energy. I'll wear you out, you declare. His own weapon is raised in defense. He smiles. He is left breathless but not seriously hurt. His guard is coming up, conserving his energy so that his next strike can be stronger. Then we will once again just hit him with a little jab. Cleverly, you read his intent and attack lightly, saving energy while still wounding him. His staff is lifted to protect himself. He grimaces with effort. I saw that coming, he laughs as he pushes aside your sword stroke, suffering only a minor wound. He alters his grip to hold his staff more loosely. He seems to be preparing a simple jab, a chance to overpower him, perhaps? The Sightmaster Sergeant is ready to leap behind the cover of a nearby hut as you come at him again. The Sandmaster shakes his head. Not bad, he grunts, clearly weakening. Alright, that was Fulson. Oh no! Then, the Sandmaster Sergeant is a blur of movement. You attempt a strong blow, only to be painfully knocked aside, when his swing hits home, carrying devastating impact. The staff is heavy and knocks you staggering across the dirt. You fall and roll, then you are up and darting through the onlooking throng to catch him unaware. But he is a Sightmaster. You cannot escape his vision. Let's defend. You drop yourself into a crouch, as he tries a deep bash, but you duck. Fast work, he grunts. You escape mostly uninjured. He feints left. I'll defend one here, and then I'm gonna go in. You hold firm and keep up your defense. His light blow sails over your head. He watches your foot closely. You hear observers in the gathered crowd murmuring expectation, but did they expect a violent blow from him, or from you? Fuck. Acting quickly, you rush to. I fucked this combat. I'm so bad. Acting quickly, you rush forward with a deep, heavy slash, but the impact clangs against his defending staff, and you only lay a minor wound. He grins. His chest begins to heave. He is struggling to stay upright. He loosens his staff. Actually, I'll just go all in. There we go. Relentlessly, you cut and thrust, keeping him pinned. You slash violently across his chest. It is enough to finish him. The Sightmaster throws down his staff. You have me, he declares with a grin. 9 stamina lost. Shameful. Damn, man. The sergeant is gasping for breath. He bows to you once more. You are too slow, he declares, shaking his head. I will tell the king to ready another champion, for you will not survive long. Wow! What the fuck? Take me back! Do a little practicing. Oh shit, we're back here. Yeah. Let the weak attack. Just defend. Yeah, I couldn't have beaten it. Fucked it up a little. Enough training. Alright. I'll defend again. He should be at least a little tired. But we won't fall for it again. It's another defend. And then I think we should just full set. There we go. Sergeant's gasping for breath. He bows to you once more. Very good, he nods, though you will need to protect yourself better out there. As he talks, a nearby healer runs over to him. You reach the foot of the mighty gate. It is sealed. The sergeant places one hand on the wood. The gate has been locked for some time to deter raiders, he tells you. But you will have no difficulty. The stars in this place allow the DOP spell to be crafted. And he stands back. Alright, so here we kind of get to show off how spellcrafting works. So you're given a choice of letters, right? And you need to spell out the spell. So here I can spell out zap, right? And then create lightning. Or I can do stop, which opens locks and doors. Or I can hot, which I can throw a fireball at it. We are just going to dop. You weave the spell. One by one, the great tumblers of the door begin to creak and groan. Then the hinges turn with a noise like hail on a canvas roof. These gates have not opened since our last champion was lost, the sergeant says. I wish you more luck than he. Perhaps you will even meet him on your travels. I fear he is dead. If I overtake him, then he is too slow. That does not concern me. I'll hit him with it. If I overtake him, then he is too slow. Scymaster nods, peering at something on the horizon. I believe he is returning, but transformed. I hope you do not meet the same fate. He claps you on the shoulder. The scenic route. Together, you step into the shadow of the wall. One last word he declares. When you have the crown, find the highest point you can find. We will be watching. Watching from where? From here. The Scymaster warriors are selected from birth for their incredible powers of telescopic vision. You cannot help but wonder how far he can see. Tell me what lies ahead. This path leads to Cantopani, a settlement of traders, though most are rogues and thieves. You should be there before the sun has reached its peak. From there, 3 routes lead on to Kristatani. But no single route is safe. Kakabad is a land of devils. Goodbye, Blade Wolf Katana. And I'm glad that you enjoyed it. And beyond, Corre? Thank you, thank you. Enough talking. Let's go with and beyond, Corre. I cannot see so far, he says, but once you have crossed the city port of traps, you will enter the Baklands. They say that day and night there are controlled by forces other than the sun. And from Corre, too, progress will be watched. It is time to go. You thank him. You pass through the gate. The faces of the folk watching your departure reveal the hopes that rest on you and your quest. The early morning air is crisp, and the rising sun paints the slopes in shades of peaceful beauty, concealing the evil that lies ahead. Into Kakabad. The path winds through slopes of wild scrubland. The countryside is deserted, and the eerie silence is broken only by the cawing of the occasional crow. There is a spell for hearing what they say, but you do not have the equipment it requires. The bird appears to pause in the air to examine you as they pass. They make you uneasy, as if you were an intruder in their presence. Keep walking. Barely an hour beyond the wall, and the air begins to grow foul. The Shamutanti hills are infested with the pestilence of the Bakhorns. It saps the energy from your body, leaving you feeling nauseous and weak. Oh, no. Cover my mouth or keep walking. Keep walking. It is not surprise. They warned you of this. You will grow accustomed to it the longer you are out here. But for the moment, you must be very careful. Your maximum stamina just decreased. You can see your stamina at the top of the screen. If this reaches 0, you'll be too tired to carry on. Stamina can be regained up to the maximum by eating rations or resting. Let's play it smart. We're adjusting. Let's just keep on the path. Another hour passes and you crest a small hillock, from the top of which you can see the path continuing downwards into a small settlement of huts. This must be Cantopani. Look at the village. From this distance, it's hard to make out much about the town, except that it must be desperately poor. The fields on either side are brown with caked mud, and the few penned animals are thin and wizened like thirsty vines. Wizened? Wizened, baby. No wonder the Scymaster warriors don't trouble themselves to protect this place. There's nothing here to protect. Am I messing it up? Also, you can actually look at all the spells. There are a lot. We can check our items as well. We can check our meals, we can check any like treasure, weapons, spellbook. I thought we could get a description of our god or whatever. We're not going to avoid the village. Of course, if you cannot handle a town like Cantopani, then you could not hope to survive in Kagavad proper. Follow the path down into town. The round huts are made of a hard-baked, bright clay, and the roofs are thinly thatched. As you pass, eyes appear at dark doorways tracking your every move. For a moment, you think they will allow you to pass unchallenged. But then, a villager appears from one of the dwellings and blocks your path. Look at him, threaten him, push him out of the way, cast a spell. What the fuck is he? Just talk to him. I want to see what spells you can cast. Law. Damn. Control non-intelligent creature. We could sap. We could make him depressed. We already don't tell me I can zap him. What the fuck? I'm not some sort of psychopath, so I'm just going to look at him. He is 5 feet tall. They cannot grow much taller out here in this poisonous air. He has thick, set arms and thighs, and is half clothed in tattered breeches. His eyes are wild, and his long red hair and beard stand up from his face in a wiry tangle. Halt, stranger, he commands. What business have you in Cantopani? I want to buy equipment. I'm merely passing through. I need directions. I'm a hungry traveler and need to eat. I want to buy equipment. He grunts, but you can see that he is pleased with the motion he encourages you to follow, taking you through the village to a large hut. Inside, you find that the building is a storage house. A quartermaster somewhat plumper than your guide is seated at a table. Stride over to him. Stride across the room, put your hand for the fat man to shake. Greetings, I'm here to trade, you declare. You are a merchant? I hear this village has excellent wares. The man looks startled, but gets quickly to his feet. Good day to you. Sit, I'll show you what little I have. Sit down. You quickly hustles the villager out of the door as you sit. The man wags a finger. Wait there. He disappears for a moment into a side room. Wait or search the room. Search the room. While the man is out of sight, you quickly rifle the nearby shelves but find nothing except for a small vial of potion. Listen, we're poor. No. Listen, I already know what it is. We'll take it, though. You pick up the vial. It is quite full and stoppered by an old cork, but there is no label to indicate what it might be. Smell it. You slip back the stopper and take a cautious sniff. The smell is truly appalling, and you seal it up again. Blimberry! But what is it used for? The merchant returns carrying the large box. For you, he declares, moving his hands as he speaks. You've come to the right place. This collection, the very best, are most strange and interesting artifacts. Collected from other travelers who have come this way. He begins to lay the items out in front of you, treating each with great care. You have 8 gold pieces to spend, but is there anything here you'd want to buy? A jewel? You reach for the large jewel in the center of the box, but he stays your hand. Please, he says. It is too valuable to allow you to handle. 10 gold pieces. 10 gold pieces is a lot, more than you have in your pouch. Look closer at the jewel. You lower your eye to the table to peer more closely at the jewel. It is clear, glassy, and its surface seems to be slightly sweating. Dragon's tears, the merchant says. You have never heard of such a thing before. Fuck. Alright, let's look through all the spells. A vial of glue, medical potion, a pebble, sand, skull cap, nose plugs, face mask. Stone dust, yellow powder. Pearl ring. Seeing a lot of jewels in here. Alright, neat. Don't buy it. No, I will not take it. The merchant nods. Very wise, I'm sure. He replies and puts the jewel carefully away. Please, merchant says. Anything else? Something else today? You still have 8 gold pieces to spend. A weapon. Merchant looks at you, carefully sizing what kind of customer you are. The kind to place a newly bought dagger against his neck, or the kind to tip him for the quality of the blade. But he must see your honor shining through as he wags his finger once more, and then collects an axe and a fine broadsword from another corner of the shop. These are both treasures as well as deadly weapons of war. I'm sure you will agree. Look at the broadsword. Lift the broadsword. It has a ready weight, and the cutting edge is sharp. It has clearly been honed by a master craftsman. An exquisite blade, don't you think? The merchant grins. Only 7 gold pieces. Too much. You replace the broadsword on the table. It is not the blade for me, you explain. Something else then, the merchant says. The axe? You lift the axe from the table. The head is carved with symbols in a familiar language, but the quality of the shaft and head indicated that it was well used and it may not last many more battles. 7 gold pieces, declares the merchant. Return the axe to him. Please, the merchant said. Keep looking. Take your time. Musical pipe. 3 gold pieces, the merchant says. I can't promise you that it has any magic, but it may well cheer you up at night. Play it. You place the pipe into your lips and blow a few clear, sweet notes. The merchant nods. It's a well-made little thing, don't you agree? By the pipe. We're kind of poor, so my options here are a little limited. Wow. Okay. Okay. I didn't think that would end the conversation, but okay. Passing the outlying huts, you feel strangely uneasy, hissings from within, and sly faces disappearing from doorways make you feel decidedly unwelcome. Then at the edge of town, you pass a large boulder, and at least 2 rough-cut villagers spring out with swords drawn. Bandits. 2 against 1, the first declares. You're lost, calls the other, so hand over your things. Come on. Reason with them. I don't want any trouble. The first bandit edges forward, his sword tickling at your chest. Running you through? No trouble at all. The pack. Defend myself. You draw yourself to your full height. You have mistaken me for someone else, you declare. I would like to give you a moment to reconsider, because I will kill you if I have to. The bandits growl and advance on you, one on either hand. Cast a spell. So let's see. We can fall? No? Okay. F. Oh. I can fog? I don't really know about that one. F-A... I guess not. I know I can jig here, but I'm gonna try law. 3 stamina. Never mind. We're gonna jig. You pull the bamboo flute from your bag, raise the spell, and begin to play a merry tune. The angry faces of the bandits turn to expressions of astonishment as they find their limbs jerking in time to the music. Quite out of control. The swords fly from their hands, and they are soon dancing merrily around you. Lead them back to the village. Lead them to the nearest pit in the ground. Let's lead them back to the village. So I don't see a need to kill these people. Piping loudly, you drive them back to the village, and as they dance away, you continue your journey. About half an hour later, you reach the start of the climb into the hills proper and continue upwards. Leaving Cantopani behind marks the true start of the wilderness. Beyond that tiny outpost, there are scattered homesteads and Carre, a thriving city port, but all are touched by cruelty, isolation, and fear. The Bachlands and the long shadow cast by Man-Pang Fortress darken everything. And with the crown gone, with the crown stolen, things can only grow worse. In the long years since Kalana, the reformer, founded the Alliance, the crown has been passed from kingdom to kingdom every 4 years, ensuring each one has had its turn to lead, but no more. Ruddlestone, Lendoland, Galancheria, and Bryce have all enjoyed its power, but not Anland. But when the crown came to Analand, it was stolen by birdmen from Zana, and carried off to Mampang with the crown. The Archmage will be unstoppably powerful. There is no chance of sending an army against them. A military force would not survive the journey. So here you are, a lone hero, walking the long path to Mampang alone. 5 minutes later, you reach a fork in the road. The sergeant, for all his eyesight, hadn't mentioned this. The road splits around the base of a gigantic tree, but does not rejoin on the other side. The left path winds down into a valley, and the right rises up a slope towards the first thick forest of the hills. Well, let's take a look at our map. Well, there's like nothing labeled over here, and over here there are some vines. So, let's go towards the place that has anything labeled. Look right. It's hard to see much further uphill. The forest is sudden and thick, and the path narrow. It may be hard going in that direction, but the hills will involve a lot of climbing eventually. You may get a decent view of the next leg from the top of the ridge. You pause to consider the lower route. There is a river there. The path follows the left bank. It is a safer route, secluded and protected. But the curve of the landscape would mean you were almost backtracking. You are about to make your choice when you hear a faint cry from somewhere close at hand. Look around. You look around, then finally come into the branches of the tree. While finally up into the branches, a pair of wizened, calloused feet are dangling down over your head. About to drop on you, perhaps? Climb up. You swing yourself up onto the lowest branch of the tree, and the owner of the feet shrieks in alarm. You see it as an old man, dressed in rags and as thin as bone. "Oi!" he calls, trying to retreat along the branch. "What do you want?" A few branches above him, you notice a buzzing beehive. Ignore the man and climb for the hive. Help the man down. What are you hiding from? What are you hiding from? How the old man got up the tree is a puzzle. He must have been escaping someone fearsome to climb up so high. What are you hiding from, you cry? Damned Elvins, he replies. I were traveling from Dumbus to the outpost settlement in Analan, but I were waylaid by Elvins, robbed me blind, all but took my eyes, and left me up the tree. I kept getting older, you see. We all do, but some worse than others. Climbed up, but now I'm too old to get down. Help him out of the tree. You reach up and grab the old man by the waist. He is as light as a leaf, and within a moment you have lifted him to the ground. Thanks for that. He remarks, brushing himself down and almost knocking himself over in the process. I was just starting to get a bit, perturbed, but I'm on the safe now. He seems remarkably confident, considering that the slightest stumble might break him into bits. What will you do now? You ask. Keep going for Annalyn, he says. That's where I set off from. Well, back now. You wouldn't believe the story if I told you, suffice to say. Though, if I know my eyes from my eyes, you're heading out the man pain. You'd better be smarter than I was. And here, he presses a page in your hand. It is a page from a spellbook. This might be of some use to you. I found this, just found it, mind it. And don't go asking how, but it's no good to me anymore. Take it. You take the page and thank him. Climb up to the hive. Leaving the old man sighing with gratitude on the ground, you climb higher through the branches of the tall tree. Beehive. The beehive hangs like a ripe fruit from the very highest branch. A huge number of bees dance in and out in a swarm. Who's magic? Cast a spell. So I can make myself bigger. I could potentially float. I know I can law. I can law. I can make them sleep. Let's doze them. You can also zap them. I'm not going to zap them. I pressed the wrong buttons. I'm going to try not to rewind, but I literally just pressed the wrong buttons there. Because I said I wanted to dose. There we go. Doze! You cast a spell over the bees, slowing their buzzing wings. The effect is unexpected. The bees begin to fall out of the sky. It seems that without buzzing at high speed, they cannot stay afloat. The spell has also affected the old man. He begins to snore right where he is. With the swarm cleared, you are able to climb the tree and open the hive. There is a succulent honeycomb and a nice ball of beeswax. You stash your finds in your pack. The light is fading. It's time to move on. Oh, the man cries, suddenly waking up once more. Do you want to hear me riddle? I heard it from the Elvins. Hear him out. You gesture with a hand for him to speak. See him, though he sees you not. A stinging beast in a box not left. To guard a key, it is his lot. To goal a witch of luck bereft? You thank him. You nod once, then turn your attention to the path ahead. Let's go towards the mine. Again, I've already kind of seen some of this stuff recently, so I kind of know it's something to do, but I went the left path the last time I played the game. I did not go this way. The high route seems the most secure. You can, in a valley, you can easily observe from above and led astray, but out in the hills you can go whichever way you choose, of course. When night falls, it may be cold and exposed up on the slopes, but no matter. This journey was never destined to be easy. You begin to climb by letting the old man's jabberings fade quickly away. The path winds upwards into the hills and into the cover of a wood. The afternoon sun glints through the trees and plays tricks in your eyes. Every so often you can catch a glimpse of some strange-shaped animal or other watching you, only to find that the silver of the branches and leaves caught at an odd angle. After an hour's walk, you are starting to feel hungry. Stop and eat, continue walking. Let's just continue walking. You are normally rumblings of your belly and keep up your pace. The climb continues with the path. Twisting this way and that, the air goes cold and the sun flickers on the horizon, then sets, making it hard to see your way. But the moon is full, and when twilight is done, it will be bright once more. It's hard to see. Let's sleep. But to tire yourself out on the first day would be inauspicious. Settle down and make a camp for the night, in a natural shelter provided by the roots of 3 gigantic intertwined trees. Your backpack will serve as a pillow, or slip for a pillow, and your cloak for a blanket. Before settling to sleep, you check through your pack. You have 3 rations left. Settle down to sleep. Your stomach rumbles loudly. You have not eaten all day. You lie down and try to ignore it, and eventually you fall asleep. The moon is full and high in the sky. When you next open your eyes, you feel warm and more cozy than you did before. As if wrapped in a gigantic blanket, there is a pain in your leg. Slowly you realize what is happening. A giant bat has settled on your chest and is feeding on your leg. Yes, as well. Okay. Okay, well, I don't think that's going to be too helpful. It's just a bat, as far as I'm aware. Big. Grow in size. Law? Yeah, well, that's 3 stamina. We do like to use jig. You raise the spout and play a sweet tune on the bamboo pipe. The bat begins to hop absurdly from foot to foot, spinning loudly, spinning around and holding out its wings. You entertain yourself with the thing for a few minutes, then grab it in one hand and lob it into the trees, where it takes flight, not to return. Telling yourself, you settle back down. Sleep. You raise once again, the crown fills your dreams, only now, instead of being hidden away in Mampang torches by the Archmage, you see it on the head of the burly villager from Cantopani. Anyone can wear the crown, he declares to you, but wearing the crown you are no longer just anyone. And then he points a finger at you that seems to crackle with energy, and you find yourself drawn towards him, commanded to do his bidding. Suddenly you are surrounded by angry bees. You are walking towards a crack in the ground. It seems sure to swallow you whole. You stumble on its edge, about to fall. The second day of your journey begins, and in the morning cool. Still halfway between sleeping and waking, you feel the presence of your spirit, the ape. Close nearby, its form has changed since you left Analand, just as you have changed. But it is still walking beside you. In the temple, they taught you to that a prayer to your spirit could heal disease, lift curses, even save you from certain death. But the spirits are not generous and decline to help often. You can ask for the spirit's aid using the pray button. Your spirit is the ape, a strong beast, intelligent and prudent. It takes great pride in acting faithfully, to be depended upon. A prayer to your spirit will heal you, but after a prayer, the spirit will not hear you again for some time. You can feel yourself getting accustomed to the fetid air of these hills. You have now ascended several hundred feet, and you can expect to make excellent progress before the end of the day. As you crest the brow of a hill, you see something that makes you stop in your tracks. To your left is a clearing. In the clearing are several poles, planted firmly in the ground, and atop each pole is a head. Look at the heads. The heads are of all kinds and ages. Some are recently fixed, while others have decayed, and some are nothing but skulls and hair. There are human heads, goblin heads, and one or two heads of creatures you do not recognize. All have sewn-up eyes and mouths. A large X painted on a rock nearby is obviously intended as a warning not to venture any further. But ahead, the road forks left and right, and you cannot be sure which path you are warned not to take. The right path continues to climb, and the left path winds down the side of the hill. Let's go towards the mine, please. The climb continues up the next hill for several hours until you are not far from the top. Then the faint sound of bustling activity reaches you. Trampling feet, grunting voices, and the clanking of metal against rock. There is something ahead, hidden by the ancient trees that line these slopes. One moment. I have just remembered I have forgotten to taste medicine. Alright. Follow the sound or keep to the path. Let's follow the sound. You leave the path and continue through the woods. A short distance onwards, you hide behind a tree and survey a clearing. A number of goblins are in the clearing, working at the mouth of an open cave. They trudge in and out of the opening, carrying large bowls in their arms, piled up with glistening rocks and dull metallic nuggets. Watch them work. You stay hidden, getting a sense of the scale of the operation. There are at least 30 goblins inside the cave, each coming out every few minutes or so with a new pail of stones. There are other goblins working in the clearing with hammers, smashing the rocks into small pieces, extracting metals from inside, loading them into carts, and finally pushing the carts away down a wide track between the trees. It is quite some operation, but not without its weaknesses. There are too many goblins to create any kind of distraction, but they move away into the trees fairly often, and sometimes the cave is left unguarded. Try to slip inside the cave. You creep closer, moving around the side of the hill, nearer to the entrance to the cave. Then when all is quiet, you seize your chance of racing across the clearing to the mouth of the cave. In the mine. You pause a moment at the cave mouth, but no one has seen you. Following the passage cautiously, you move between the cool rock walls of the mine, passing and ignoring ladders that lead down into the clamoring heart of the mine, where 100 goblins sing as they work. Eventually, you reach a junction. Right. You follow the passage to the right. It twists around deeper into the hillside and ends in a sealed wooden door. Try the door. You try the door. Locked. Cast a spell. Alright, so we can stop. What else can we do? Force field. Dud. We can huff, create a wind. We can howl. Let's howl. You wait for the spell to take effect, and sure enough, you soon hear a voice from deep within. The voice is telling you to leave the door and leave the mine. Its tone is clear and deep and truthful. Keep trying to open the door. Cast a spell. So now I know that we're probably about to fight. But I will still just kind of dop, I think. You cast a spell. The door shudders as its lock turns over, and the handle moves of its own accord. On your guard, you watch as it swings open. The room beyond is huge and appears to be a storeroom of some kind. In one corner is a pile of black rocks, and more rocks are held in a bucket nearby. These flicker with a dull, glistening light. But most intriguing of all is what stands in the center of the space, a mechanical apparatus, perhaps a press or a stone cutter, being operated by a large and powerful ogre. He does not, for the moment, seem to have noticed you. Watch him work. Certain he has not noticed you. Your sudden arrival in the room, you stay in the shadow and notice and watch as the ogre goes about his task. He's dropping stones from the black pile into one end of the machine, and turning a heavy handle, crunching the rock. Something is coming out on the other end. See what you need to approach him, and as he is between you and the outlet of the machine. Approach the ogre. Boldly, you step out of the doorway and into the pool of candlelight that fills the room. The ogre stops working immediately and turns to face you, growling incomprehensibly like the slug he is. You will not be able to reason with him. Cast a spell. Rock. Turn to stone. Okay, well. Dim? I guess turn out the light. Cause stupidity. Wall. Invisible wall. Or whoa. Create a shield. Oh. It's not nothing for K. I think that dim is kind of what we want here. You cast a spell and wait for it to take effect. The ogre lunges, but then stops, shaking its head, looking at you and then itself with a puzzled expression. It takes a step forwards, then back. It is highly confused. I want everything. I want it all, baby. That should even the odds a little. You cast a spell for it to take up a... Yeah. Defended. The ogre stomps towards you, stumbling and shuffling, but still huge and fearsome. It swings up its hammer, almost throwing it right at you. You try to seize the advantage with a deep lunge at the creature's heart. It raises its hammer again, so large it could just as well be hiding behind a rock. Cautious but angry, it stomps the dust with one heel, growling. Block. Oh, fuck. You drop down, protecting yourself as the ogre carelessly swipes its terrible hammer. You throw yourself to the wall. It raises its hammer up across its body defensively and almost drops it in the process. Stealing your courage, you move in, aiming to trap the ogre against the cave wall. Moving swiftly, you aim for its heart. It blocks your blow with its hammer. It is left breathless, but otherwise unharmed. Its deep-set, stupid eyes are watching you closely, not wanting to take a risk. You strike again. Moving quickly, you go a straight lunge for his eye. The ogre stumbles away as though not seeing the blow would stop it landing. But then you see its hide is like tough leather, and you can barely scratch it. The ogre stumbles, suddenly crashing the machine, which almost buckles under the weight. It sniffs the air. You lunge forwards again. Moving efficiently, you thrust for his chest. The ogre steps awkwardly aside. The ogre howls in rage and fear. It is a dumb creature, and I can't understand what is happening to it. You strike again. Moving swiftly, you aim a straight lunge for his ribs. Then you swing again, and the sword cleaves the ogre's side. He gurgles unhappily as he slumps to the floor. You breathe a sigh of relief. You are still alive! One stamina lost. Skilled swordplay. While the dying ogre heaves his last breath, you investigate the room. Try out the machine. Going over to the enormous machine, you try cranking the handle to see what happens, but you simply do not have the strength to make it happen, to make it move. Following the tubes and chutes of the machine, you discover a large gem, an emerald about the size of your fist. It should be good for trade around the value of 10 gold pieces. You place it carefully into your bag. Search the table. You look through the heaps of rocks on the table to see if any catch your eye, but they all seem fairly ordinary. Search the corners of the room. Moving to the corners of the room, you do a careful sweep. After a few minutes, you come across something soot-covered but solid. Wiping it with your tunic, you find it is a second large gem, which you take. You search the room thoroughly. Now it is time to be going before someone comes to find the ogre. You head back to the fork of the passage. The sunlight from outside is very tempting. Well, we eat our honeycomb just to maybe gain a little. We're gonna keep going to the fucking mines, boys. The passageway continues until you reach a large stone-cut door blocking your way forwards. For a mine, this place seems well built up. Perhaps it will serve as a camp if war comes. Try the door handle. You try the door. It opens. The room beyond is dirty with soot from the mines, so it could almost be a pit filled with night itself, with crystals in the rock for stars. In the far wall, you can just make out another door leading deeper into the mine. But the middle of the room is a table, at which a large, filthy goblin is sitting. He raises his head as you enter and smells the air. Perhaps he is almost blind from so long underground. "You smell is strange, intruder," he challenges. You not permitted here." "I'm a friend." Draw my sword and see what he says. I'm a friend. Are you now?" "I'm not." The goblin rises to his feet. In his hand he holds a large stone club. Cast a spell. Tell. Reads minds. Raz. Sharpened blade. Let me guess. Zap. L? No, that's not L, it's a Z. Whew. Let's see. We're at 7 stamina. And who knows how many more combats we have. But this one seems like it could be difficult. So I'm gonna sharpen my blade. You rub half of your beeswax from the blade of your sword and raise the spell. The metal begins to glint with a razor blade sharpness. You take on the goblin with glee. The monster lumbers forwards. The goblin beats its clubs into its open palm and paces towards you. You try to seize the advantage with a deep lunge with your vicious blade for his heart. He raises his club defensively, but your blade cuts through. He is left breathless and stunned. He growls at you. You attempt an attack and suffer for it. The goblin raises its hefty club and brings it crushing down on you. Your sword swings wide as the blow strikes home. "When you're dead, I'll toss you into the lowest mine for the grub," spits the goblin. His narrow eyes are watching you closely, not wanting to take a risk. I'll defend 1. You drop down, protecting yourself as the goblin jabs with his clubs. You step smartly aside. You are mostly unhurt. He raises his clubs across his body defensively. Oh, defensively. You know what that means. It means he hit him with a small one, and we win. 5 stamina lost. Stealing your courage, you move in, aiming to trap the goblin against the cave wall, tasing him with a passing blow, wearing him down. Then the goblin stumbles and you have him. Your sword pierces right through his neck and the club drops to the floor. 5 stamina lost. Shameful. 5? What did I do? 5? I thought I... With the goblin defeated, there's nothing to stop you from moving further on in the mine. Search this room first. Before you move on, you quickly scour the corners of the dark room in case there is any gold or weapons lying around. You find nothing until you search the goblin himself. He's wearing a silver key on a chain around his neck. You lift it away. Now go onwards. Time to see what this mine has to offer. Further into the mine. You open the door into a pitch-black passageway. Grope through the darkness, cast a spell, give up on going this way. Cast a spell. Up. Oh, ow. That fight kind of fucked us. What? How much? Let's see how much I get for eating this ration. 1? We're rewinding. We're rewinding. I didn't really mean to rewind this far, but I mostly just wanted to rewind before I ate. Okay. You piece. Well, he's gotta be tired after that one. Defensively. Okay, we only lost 2 that time. Search this room first. Key. Now go onwards. You know what? Grope through the darkness. You push on into the depths of the mine. Dust falls from the low ceiling, and your hand moves over the precarious wooden beams that hold the walls from crumbling in. Then you stumble, foot catching a support. The support cracks. A piece of rock the size of your head tumbles through a gap in the ceiling, narrowly missing your skull. A rain of stone and dust follows. The ceiling is coming apart. Turn and run for the door. Push on ahead to avoid the falling rocks. Push on ahead. You are gripped by an insane idea. Racing into the darkness of an unknown mine as the only exit is sealed off behind you? Do it. The crashing shaft behind you lends you speed. Then suddenly you gasp as your foot fails to touch the ground below. I'm falling. You begin to drop. There can only be moments. Cast a spell. Concentrate on landing well. Cast a spell, please. Alright, I like, that one sounds good. Yeah, let's just do, what was it, fall? You cast the spell, and your fall is broken instantly. You float gently to the ground below, landing softly on your knees. The base of a pit. You pick yourself up and look around. You are at the base of a deep shaft. It's hard to be sure how far you've fallen, but the top is lost in darkness. Still, it's not pitch black down here. A chink of light penetrates from somewhere far away, a crack nearby, or a tunnel mouth a long way off. You cannot tell. Start walking. Calmly and without delay, you start to walk towards the point of light. It gets larger, but slowly, and your hopes lift with every step. It's definitely a way out. You can see sky beyond. Your hands are running along the tunnel walls to keep you straight. Then the ceiling comes down, and you crawl for a few feet. Then you freeze. Your hand is resting on something furry. Grasp it. You reach out with a thinking that whatever it is at least small. Your grip closes on the thing. It's not warm. That's a good thing. And it squashes easily, as if its bones had been turned into jelly. You pull it closer to yourself. You realize you are holding a pair of fur boots. You laugh with relief and quickly scramble the rest of the way along the tunnel to the sunlight. It's an opening. The climb out of the cave takes several hours, but it is worth every moment when you emerge into cool, fresh air once more. You have escaped with your life. Take a moment to examine the boots. You turn the boots over in your hands. You recognize the fur. It is borin skin. They will be very useful if you head through snowy climbs. Then it is time to get moving. You set up once more, looking for a path to get your bearings in the trees. We traveled a distance. What the fuck? That was an expensive trip. I bet the key was for that door that I used the spell on. The path climbs again up a low hill, covered over with thick bushes and shrubs that snag at your clothing. Halfway up, you hear a sound. Twigs breaking. Freeze. You freeze as a large creature the size of a bear emerges directly in front of you. It has a black and white fur, and a long bushy tail that trails up behind. It growls menacingly. Try to edge around it. Perhaps if you're careful, you can slip around it. Edge around to the left, edge around to the right. Edge around to the right. You try to slip upwards towards the bushes, but clearly something about you, or what you carry, attracts the beast's attention. It sniffs the air and then moves towards you, its sharp teeth on display. You will not be able to avoid a confrontation. The creature is a skunk bear, and when it raises its tail, it releases a nauseating odor. The smell that hangs around it is terrible. Cast a spell. Cast a spell, please, because otherwise I think we will die. Well. Nap. I assume law. Yeah, law. Sap? We tried K, and nap, law, sap. Part of me thinks that we got to law. Let's try a sec. You launch the spell, and the snarl on the face of the creature turns into a glum glower. It's still coming at you, but only half-heartedly, sliding with idle claws. You draw your sword. The miserable creature has two main weapons, its long claws and its terrible smell. You thrust your sword out in front of you, hoping to skewer the monster, but the skunk bear doesn't want to attack. It rears up and waits, trying to stay out of reach. It beats the air with its heavy tail. What? You just told me it didn't want to attack. The skunk bear charges and leaves, and you are spared by your reflexes. You dodge behind a tree and cover your nose from the stench. It rears back, claws raised. What? I have misread the situation. I would like to go back. I keep reading these as like the present, or you know, like the what it's going to do, right? Also, what happens if you go left? Oh. Well, we're gonna go back, because I just kind of wanted to see what happened. I assume that you would still fail. No. Rewind. Freeze. Try to edge around it. Go right. So spell. We could also clone ourselves, but I'm gonna stick with sap. No, please, sap. S-A. Missile creature has two main weapons. Yeah. I think it's going to defend. It did not. Defend? No, but this is a full send situation. back against a tree. You deliver. Okay. The smell is getting. It's kind of retarded. You raise an attack. I might blow it. Its fur. Its fur is thick and with blood and scratches. It bothers the air with its furry tail. The skunk bear charges and squeals, and you are spared by your reflexes. You defend yourself as best you can. You find yourself gasping for breath. The foul smell coming off the beast is the stench of the grave. It drops its weight and growls weakly. The smell is getting worse. Dropping your weight, you chop a mighty stroke against the skunk bear, slipping a light blow past its massive paws. The skunk bear emits a new, terrible odor. The smell of fear, perhaps? It wraps its tail lightly around itself. Back against a tree, you deliver a mighty swing at the skunk bear. Then your sword finds a soft place in the skunk bear's body. The beast roars and tumbles to the ground, quite dead. 2 stay with a lost skilled swordplay. It was not skilled swordplay. I fucked up a lot. You have your sword clean. Move on. I actually was kind of hoping to loot the bear, but okay. The path leads down through another valley and back up another hill. 2 hours pass. Man, imagine if I had just gone left to hide from the monster. The sun is now just past its zenith, and everywhere, a dusty heat rises from the baked earth. You are worn out, almost to the point of physical collapse. You need food and rest. No more trouble. Today has been too punishing already. You begin to think about where you will stay for the night. Another night sleeping out in the open would be best avoided. But then you see a small village set under the hill. Look at it. Smoke rises from the stacks. The houses are well set with stone at their bases, and thatched roofs of grasses and thick leaves. There is, unusually, more than just the one street running through the center of town. But it is as though this place, once rich, has had its heart scooped away. Litter surrounds the buildings, and on the edge of the village are rows and rows of empty, abandoned houses. You continue your slow trudge along the path. Also, I think I'm gonna employ like a similar thing to Germa. And that I'm really trying to limit the rewinds that I do. And I'll also extend, if you want me to rewind, then I will consider it. So, like, if you want me to go back and have some stamina, that's fine. Just tell me. And I'll be like, okay, sure. But I'm going to try to avoid doing that, except for, I don't know, like, if I say I'm going to cast a spell and then I cast a different one, that one I think is a free rewind, but, like, there, where I just kind of fucked up the combat too much that first time, where I felt like I was reading it and following the same pattern before. But, like, I don't know, there was something weird where, like, all the lines seemed only referred to the past, whereas sometimes it will, like, be like, hey, like, it seems like they're gonna be defensive next turn, and so you're like, okay, I won't waste all my energy. I don't know, it was weird. You walk into the village. Young hill dwellers pass you and stare at your strange clothes. You nod back respectfully. Look at the people. Their own attire is rough by comparison to your gear. They wear their hair long but piled up on their shoulders, or piled up on their heads. These people are ghastly poor. The village is like a ghost town here on the knife edge of the Bachlands. Talking to Nail House. Walking down the single road, you quickly find a hut with its front covering pulled wide open, and the smell of a brewed beer coming from inside. You go in. Several hill dwellers are here, talking gruffly. When you enter, they watch you with understandable caution. The owner of the hut comes over to you. "Welcome to Cristodani," he declares. "What do you want?" Greet the owner. "An evening's rest and a drink to wet my throat," you reply. "Ale is 1 gold piece," he answers. "Please sit." You go over to the table where the hill dwellers are. You sit with the oldest man to sit with the youngest man. Sit with the oldest man. You turn your attention to the oldest man at the table. Whatever face he once had is lost in a labyrinth of wrinkles. And his skin is the color of tanned hide from a lifetime in the beating sun. "Greetings, old man." He raises his mug and salutes. "Stranger?" His face is gravely like the dusty dirt that lines the streets of his town. Where are you from? I come from Analand. It doesn't matter. Don't answer him. I come from Analand. He nods. Not many has crossed through the Cantopani Gate in either direction, if you know what I'm saying. I understand you. He grins and picks his teeth with a fingernail. They say there is war coming, something to do with the crown. Not if I can help it. Is that so? Replies the canny old man. Well, seems like you should be drinking on the house tonight for the good of all of us. Shanty? He calls the innkeeper over. I'll cover this man's ale. He looks like he needs it. It's appreciated. Listen, man, I'm fucking poor. I'm tired. I just want a skunk beer for no fucking reason. Talk to the young man. Ask the old man about the area. Ask the old man about the area. Can you tell us something about this region, you ask? Kristatani? Certainly, I'll tell you that around here. We are always glad to help us rangers. Tell me what lies beyond this town. Beyond Kristatani, there are two paths, he says. One takes you past Aliana's home, and you'll need your wits about you if she's there. The other leads up into the hills and Liaki, domain of the Great Ones. Either way you choose, I wish you the luck of Sindla on your journey. Who is Sindla? God of hopeless causes, the man replies, and laughs. The crowd in the inn is starting to thin out. You finish your beer in a single draught and get to your feet. You made to leave the inn with a wave back to the man who bought your drink. You step outside. You look this way and that, trying to decide what to do next, when you realize the old man has joined you with work. He grabs your shoulder and presses a fruit into your hand. Bomba, he declares through fermented breath. I grow them myself. Good for the stomach. He pats your belly and walks away slightly. Look at the fruit. You turn the old man's gift over in your hands. It is a thick, ripened fruit that keeps well and will be highly nourishing when you decide to eat it. Its only drawback is the incredible weight. It is now evening, and time to sleep. Find an inn. I think we made out pretty well in the end. We gained a single stamina for free. You stop a passerby and ask for an inn, and they lead you there directly. The woman who runs the place stands in the doorway with their arms folded. Are you from the king? I am on a mission from the king. You reply. Taxes, she replies quickly. No. The woman narrows her eyes at you. This is a guest house. The best in Kristatani. Only guests stay, and any guest of mine knows it cost me 3. I gotta know. What happens? I will redo my decisions. I want to know if you say, do you just fucking rob this poor lady? The woman narrows her eyes at you. This is a guest house. The best in Kristatani. Only guest saying like a... I need to eat first. I don't have enough money. Okay, so it doesn't fucking matter. Alright, rewind. I'm on a mission for the king. That's what I said. No. No, I will not give her an emerald for room and board. 2 gold to eat. It's been a day since we last ate. We did eat the honeycomb, but I'll eat. The woman narrows out. This is a guest house, the best in Kristatani. Only guests stay, and any guest of mine knows it costs me 3 gold pieces to host a man overnight, and 2 to feed him. But it's all between friends. I need to eat first. Food is just being served. The woman steps aside, and you go inside and sit down. A few minutes later, her husband appears with a steaming pot of skunk bear stew. As you eat, you can't help but remember the terrible-smelling beast dead on the path, and the thought makes you gag. Still, you stomach the meal all the same, and leave your coins on the table. Do you want a room as well? The woman asks. Thank you. The woman shows you the way upstairs to a room. There are 3 other guests already staying and asleep. So you settle quickly. The bed is not clean, but it is comfortable, and after a long day and all its narrow escapes, you are grateful beyond measure for the rest. Your dreams are vivid once again. You are walking endlessly, the hills moving up and down under your feet like a rippling sea. Every step exhausts you, but no step moves you forwards. Meanwhile, a tall black creature strides towards you, breathed in a foul-smelling smoke. In the distance, a deep voice is booming with laughter. The long, cruel fingers of one hand are curled around the metal frame of a crown. With the other, he beckons you forward, as if into a trap. You wake early and sit for a moment in no great hurry to leave the village. This is now the third day of your journey, and the muscles in your legs are feeling lean and strong from so much walking. You spend a short while enjoying the peace, then unhurriedly collect your possessions and set off along the path. Krisatani is surrounded by several miles of fields, and it sits in a well-protected ring of hills, and is close enough to the river to be reasonably prosperous. As you follow the path between the lines of sun-baked crops, you come to a fork in the road. The right-hand way leads past a set of outbuildings, while the left hand heads directly off into the deep woodland. I will let you choose. Wolf. Okay. Into the woodlands. Your journey is too important to slow down by talking to locals. You must pass unseen, and so you disappear into the jungle of tall trees. For a short while, the sun is feverish, and then you are between the trees once more, and everything becomes cool and still. You walk for several hours uneventfully. This is land that was never settled or unexplored, and very few travel this way. In places, bushes and shrubs have grown over into the path. Move cautiously, hack my way through. Okay, move cautiously. Be a fucking weirdo. You pick your way carefully forward, moving slowly but silently between the trees. If there are any beasts nearby, you should be able to wring their necks without them hearing you approach. Then you come to a fork in the road, still deep in the forest. Okay. Someone has thought to make a sign, perhaps as a guide, perhaps as a warning. The way to the right is marked for Dumpus. A left turn points to Aliana, a name you remember from what the man in Krisatani told you. Neither way seems the better trod. You will have to choose. I will also let you choose this one. Or at least I will let you make... I've actually decided which one I'm going to do. I'm going to Aliana. The path winds between trees that get greener and more lush. You must be closer to the river here, although you cannot hear the water. After about half an hour's walk through dappled shade, you come across a well-built hut. Flowers decorate its walls, and the doors are painted with ornate designs. The path ends here. Scout around it. You perform a swift circuit around the hut, but find nothing unusual or concerning. It seems to be what it is, a hut, set by itself deep in the forest. For someone to survive out here, on their own, surrounded by the beasts of the jungle, they must be someone quite powerful. Knock on the door. You approach the door and knock. There is no reply. Open the door, breaking and entering. You open the door and stride inside. The hut is neatly laid out. You detect the touch of a fastidious woman. Chairs are set around a table as if for guests. A mattress lies in one corner, and a large kitchen area indicates that whoever lives here, they are fond of cooking. Call out. Hello, is there anybody here? To your surprise, a voice answers quickly. Who's there? Who's that? Locate the speaker. Looking into a corner, hidden by a large cupboard, you see a cage in which a young woman is imprisoned. Good, stranger, she pleads. Let me out of this cage, I beg you. What happened to you? You go over to the cage, quite shocked. What happened to you? Oh, good stranger, she wails. I have been locked up here for 2 days. It was Elvins that did it. Those mischievous, praneful Elvins. Please, you must help me. I have not eaten, and they left me here, where I can see all my cooking things, but cannot reach them. What do I get? If I let you go, what do I get in return? If I let you go, what do I get in return, you ask? The stranger, she asks, looking miserable. I am but a poor woman, and I am a poor traveler. I'm probably gonna rewind here. I just kind of want to see like what fucking happens. And I am a poor traveler, you reply graciously. Now tell me, what can you give me for your freedom? The woman looks dreadfully unhappy, but nods. You are on a journey, she says. You will need things to help you. It is a dangerous wilderness out there. Tell me in your heart, are you a fighter or are you a wizard? I am a man. Am I magical? I am both. I am both. I will take everything you have. The woman nods vigorously. I knew it. I could see from your face. Well, stranger, at my house, I have Ragnaris's enchanted armband of Swordmaster, and I'll give it to you if you free me. Search the house for what she has. I'm gonna rewind. I don't like this at all. You are most anxious to reply with a slight mocking bow to inform you of such things. Ignore the pretensions, the protestations and shouts from inside the cage. You begin to carefully search the drawers and cupboards of the hut, but you find no sign of any special artifacts or anything truly of value at all. All you find is 2 gold pieces and a pouch containing soft brown sand. Take the lot. You pocket bolt it. You heathen, you halfwit, you half thing, she screams the one from the inside the cage. I curse you, do you hear me? I curse you with all the power I can summon. And that is some power, as you feel yourself weakening under the pressure of her eyes. Your sword arm seems to droop and you feel your grip on the hilt fumble. You'll be weaker in fights until the curse is lifted. Quickly you leave the house. Yeah, I'm gonna rewind. I just didn't know how far you could really go with it. Call out. I will call out. I will locate the speaker. I will get her out. Going for the cage, you try the door. It is locked, of course. Try an item from my pack. No one watches you as you open your pack. Try the silver key. You slip the silver key from your rack and try to lock, but it is far too small. You put the key away once more. Please, begs the woman. Now hurry up and get me out of here. Try the beeswax? No. Use magic. You should be grateful I waste my strength on you, you declare, as you roll up your sleeves. Zap! Raz! No! No, not Raz. I want to try Pete. 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 Pep? No. Okay, sure. What energy? You cast a spell over the lock and it begins to shiver, like a small bottle. It hums and clicks as the tumblers turn and work. Then finally it snaps open and drops to the floor. The woman claps her hands in delight. With the door open, she rushes out and throws her arms around you, before backing off at pace and trying to regain her composure. Stranger, she declares, I am in your debt. Aliana will reward you. Will you take an aid in combat or mastery of magic? Dude, I gotta know what happens for this one. No, okay. It's up. I'll leave the choice up to you, Wolf. I feel like all 3 could be cool. Combat or a kiss first? Let's try out the kiss. I need no reward beyond a kiss, she smiles bashfully. Stranger, you are most kind, but I do not think it would be wise. Delicately, she steps to the other side of the table from you. The lady has been freed. It seems like there is nothing much more to keep you here and from your quest. Would you share my food with me? Ask if I may eat. Would you share my food with me? She nods vigorously, and the two of you settle down to the table. It is a mockery of a family feast as you carefully divide the old man's nourishing bomba fruit, trying hard not to lose any morsels into the cracks in the wood. She eats ravenously, as do you. Then finally you stand. I must be on my way, you tell her. I have many more miles to cover. She nods, of course. Please, before you go. She holds something out. It is a small bag of coins.
7 coins.
You bow your head and accept the gift. There are 7 gold pieces inside. And one more thing she says. When you're on the table, she leans up to you and pecks you on the cheek, whispering, I am Aliana the witch. I have killed a good many men with my sorcery, but I choose not to kill you today. Go in peace. Then she steps back, and her face is as soft as peaceful as it ever was. Did you imagine her words? Almost certainly not. Time, then, to leave. You step quickly outside. You trace your steps to the last junction where you turn to take the path to Dumpus. So -1 ration. I think we actually gained stamina. -1 ration plus 7 gold. I think we came up pretty nice. I wonder what we would have gotten for the other shit, though. Right, I wonder if we would have gotten like something cool for combat or magic. The magic one's like the real interesting one, but another time. You walk for several hours, following the twists and turns of the path through the trees. Then, suddenly, you stop. You have heard a noise up ahead. Something is moving around between the rocks at the edge of the path. Walk on, wait and look, draw my sword. Let's wait. You hang back, watching the trees. There is definitely something moving around. Something large and long with a tail that whips between the trees. But now that you've seen it, you're at a definite advantage. Attempt to creep around, fight, cast a spell. Well, you know, the last time I got into a fight with a fucking animal, I got nothing for it, so I'm gonna try to creep around. The beast is off the path to the right, so if you creep through the tree line on the left, you may escape unnoticed. You try this tactic, moving slowly and carefully, making as little noise as possible, placing your feet with delicate care. After a few more yards, you are about to rejoin the path, when the movement of the animal stops. It must have heard you, caught your scent, and sure enough, a moment later, it is upon you. In a flurry of foliage and dirt, a rat bear leaps from the undergrowth. It is much closer than you thought. Its sleek black fur allows it to hide in the shadows until it is almost upon you. I suspect. Stop. What? I want to doze, but I'm going to dop just to see it. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought, but I couldn't remember if the game had situations that I couldn't remember if the game had just like failures like that. But we are going to cast a doze. You draw out the spell, and the beast slows down, looking suddenly very sleepy and slow. At this speed, you don't even need to fight it. You walk quickly away. Easy. The path winds a few more times among gigantic trees, thousands of years old, and then emerges onto a sudden plain, as if the forest had been scooped away by a gigantic hand. A river trickles thinly between short grasses, and by its banks stands a tiny village. The choice is up to you, Wolf. Enter. Today has been a short day with few true dangers. With a decent meal and a night's sleep, your next day will start auspiciously, so you begin the gentle climb down into the village. You follow the path down in the village, passing a sign which declares it to be Dumpus. The streets are thin and narrow, and the buildings have been set close together as if trying to withstand a storm. There is a terrible smell hanging in the air. All in all, it seems an unpleasant place. Explore the town, talk to the villagers. Let's talk to the villagers. You pass along the main path through the village and pause, outside a hut in which several of the hill dwellers are sitting and eating. They seem deep in discussion about something. Several are shaking their fists in the air. Lifting back the canvas slab, you step inside. The hill dwellers stop talking immediately and look up at you. One gets to his feet and gestures you forward. Step over. Bow my head. You nod your head once to the man, who returns the gesture. Then one of the others calls something in their native tongue and points at your side, to where your sword hangs out below the hem of your cloak. In broken commentary, the first man croaks, "No weapons," he indicates. He indicates a table by the door where you can leave the blade. Remove the sword, look over the table, enter with my sword, shake my head, and leave. Look over the table. There are plenty of other weapons there, so the men appear honest enough. Remove my sword. You unfasten your sword belt and leave your weapon on the table. The hill dwellers nod to show their appreciation, and then beckon you to sit with them. Then they continue their conversation, just as animatedly as before, speaking in a local tongue that you cannot follow. But as they talk, they pour you a drink and provide you with food. They seem quite welcoming. Listen to their talk. As you eat, you listen carefully, catching a few words here and there. Goblins, arms, Christithani. They seem to be very concerned. Tell them you've been there. Ask about the goblins. Keep listening. Ask about the goblins. What are the goblins doing? Are they being armed by the villagers? The men shake their heads. Slowly you piece together the story. The group seem quite sure that a horde of goblins are planning an attack on Christithani, which is apparently one of the wealthier spots in the hills. They're discussing whether or not to be worth helping the village, whether it would be worth to helping the village to defend itself, which might mean they are offered some kind of reward. You must help them. You must help them, you declare earnestly. Christithani, it does not help us, one of the men points out. They are rich, we are poor. You will place them in your debt. The men nod, swayed by your ruthless logic. And you? How do you fight? I serve the king of Anoline. I serve myself. I will help those that need it. I will help those that need it. I will help those that need it. The men nod. Let the goblins attack tonight, they cheer. We will use your strength. The evening draws to a close. The men thank you for your counsel and leave one by one. Explore the town. Halfway along the trek, you come across a couple of merchants' huts. You browse for items worth buying with your 7 gold pieces. Your attention is taken by a finely woven skull cap, a finely crafted sword, and a small bag of provisions. You examine the bag of provisions. Oh, the bag of food. There is enough to last about 3 days. 6 gold pieces, the merchant says with a smile. Good for a traveler, I'm sure. Don't buy them. Oh, that's not really what I meant. I might rewind. I just didn't realize that meant I could. I just wanted to look around some more. Carefully, you lift the longsword from the table and swing it through the air. It cuts with a finely carved edge. A fine piece of work, I'm sure you agree. The merchant enthuses. 6 gold pieces. Okay. Pick up the skull cap and turn it over. Stolen from the priest of Dadule. The merchant declares with pride. A fine piece of work. 4 gold pieces. You can tell from feel of the cloth that it is no inherent magic, but it might be useful in spells. Damn, no haggling? I just want to rewind, please. I think I am going to buy the skull cap. It's kind of cheap, and leaves us with a little bit of money. The sword and the provisions are pretty expensive. 3 days for, what was it, 6? Is good, I think. But I just don't really have the money, and I'm not willing to trade the emerald. Is there any work to be had here? Is there somewhere I can go to sleep? Is there any work to be had here? I need to earn some money. The merchant sizes you up. You look like a good worker to me. One of my friends needs some digging doing. I'm sure he would pay you and feed you for it. Sounds like hard work. Digging what? Digging what, you ask? The merchant shifts uncomfortably. Does it matter? You'll find out. He stares at you. So he asks. He looks over his shoulder to the path. I'm going that way now myself. You coming? Follow the merchant. I think I did this last time too. He leads you to a house on the edge of the village and introduces you to the householder, a stout man who is probably incapable of lifting a spade, let alone digging with it. What is it you need doing? Cesspit, the man replies. Out back. Needs digging. How much? Well, the man replies, it's pretty urgent. The old one's overflowing. How much money? You depend. 3 gold pieces, he replies. I'll get started. Spades out back, he replies, with the jerk of his thumb. He walks through the man's house into the back garden. The smell is terrible. The job is not just to dig a new cesspit, but to dig over the old one. And it's going to be several hours' work that'll probably take the whole night. You collect the spade, stuck in the ground by the hole. Cast a spell. Pep? No. Big, I guess? Big. Zap, I know. D? Okay, no D. Do I dig it or do I zap it? I think I'll just dig it. Is there a reason to spend 3 stamina? You begin digging a new hole, tipping the earth into the old hole. The ground is hard, and the snout in the pit is enough to make you gag. After you have been working for an hour or so, the owner of the household brings you out something to eat and pays you 3 gold pieces for your efforts. Eat. It's hard to stomach the food with the smell in your hands into the yard, but you're so hungry from the work that you wolf down the bread and soup he provides. Then it's back to work again. For the remainder of the night, you are just finishing when the sun comes up. What about the goblins that I said I would help with? You rise early, dismiss the attentions of the householder, and head out into the street. Within a few minutes of walking, you are out of Dumpus and back on the road. After another hour or so, the way branches, with one path heading up into the hills and the other turning downhill along one side of a barren, stony ridge. Is that a village you can make out on top of the hill? It seems a lonely place for it. Okay, this is where I'm going to call it for now. Look at all that. Look at how far we've come. Basically went something like... something like that. But if you somehow find yourself watching the stream, or watching, I guess, the video, the stream, thanks for watching, I'm sorry. Bye!